Here are a few interesting things about the Rolex Day Date. This is one of the few modern Rolex designs to still be polished by hand. All stainless steel models are done by machine, but this one is still traditionally finished. This debuted back in 1956 and has been in continual production since that date, so nearly 70 years now. And I think some might call this boring or dated or basic, but I would not agree. I find this timeless. I find this traditional. I find this classy and sharp. And it has only ever been produced in precious metal. So originally in yellow gold, and then later on white gold and rose gold, and more recently in platinum. And this will underscore the idea that it is a premium product from a luxury brand worthy of its nickname. Now, this is not a nickname by watch collectors. This is just the general public. They refer to this as the Rolex President or even the Rolex Presidential, which I think is kind of funny myself. But it is a model that has been owned by previous presidents of the United States, only one of which prominently wore his while he was in office during his term, and that was Lyndon B. Johnson in the 1960s. And during that time, Rolex really tried to play into this with their advertising campaign, quote, "Men who guide the destinies of the world wear Rolex watches," close quote. Now, I don't think that type of marketing would be as effective today, which is why I think we see Rolex prominently place watches with actors, with actresses, with sportsmen and women and music celebrities. And I think another interesting thing is actually the gold formula itself. So Rolex will use a proprietary blend of 75% AU or gold, hence the hallmark AU 750, and then 25% a mixture of silver, copper, platinum, and palladium, which is more rare than platinum. And they have their own gold foundry where they create this precious metal. And I find that the gold appears ever so slightly more red or more warm compared with other brands. And if you have a loop or a macro lens, you will note the micro hallmarks found on the reverse of the watch and in the bracelet. They are the St. Bernard dog, the AU 750, the Rolex coronet, and a set of scales. Now, owners of this watch that buy this from a Rolex authorized dealer can also opt for the day wheel to be replaced with an alternate language. And this is done free of charge by Rolex, but you will need to send it to one of their authorized service centers just for that swap to take place. Now, personally, I am 1/4 Inuit, and I would love to see an Inupiaq language wheel as an option, but I do need to inquire about that since it is a very uncommon language. If it's not possible or not in the current catalog, perhaps Rolex might create one for me, but we'll see about that. The caliber within the watch is called the 3255. It is an in-house movement, a double quickset date and day, and this has been in production since 2015. Rolex filed multiple design patents for this latest iteration of the caliber. It will have an escapement called a Cron Energy escapement, and that is up to 15% more efficient with the energy transfer than prior generations of the escapement system that Rolex has used. The caliber will also have a niobium zirconium hairspring that comes with an overcoil. The balance is free sprung and set in a full balance bridge. So essentially, this caliber is impervious to magnetic fields and will be very stable, very resistant to large and small shocks. Now, lastly, this caliber has 31 joules. It beats at 4 hertz. It carries 70 hours of power reserve and will be adjusted to 6 separate positions. The superlative chronometer designation is no joke in my experience. So Rolex specs this to +2 to -2 seconds per day, but in every Rolex model that I have owned, including this day date, it is always just about spot on. So the brand has always had the most consistent performance for me, and I enjoy that as a watch collector. Now, this 228238 is water resistant up to 100 meters. It will have twin gaskets within the thread down signed crown. And originally, the first day dates in the late 1950s had a fluted bezel that was not just aesthetic, it was used to thread down into the case and ensure the water resistance. But today, it has nothing to do with water resistance. It is purely aesthetic, and in my opinion, it just dances in almost any light scenario. All of the angles and surfaces and reflections, it is a very pretty piece. Though if you flip this watch over and take a look at the case back, you will note that Rolex still uses a fluted form to thread down the case backs. Now, I will share some personal observances. As an owner of this model, I opted for the champagne dial, which is gold electroplated and will carry a light varnish overcoat over the sunray finish. And the Roman numerals and the handset are likewise 18 karat yellow gold and will not be subject to tarnishing over time. And this monotone gold look, it makes the watch appear slightly larger than its contrasting dial or loomed marker counterparts, and I like that. I also like the fact that this president-style bracelet was designed specifically for the date, and this modern variation will have ceramic tubes that hold the pins in place, so there will be no stretch over time. And that's great innovation. Now, because there is no easy link or no glide lock within this bracelet, this does carry the hidden deployant style. I wear mine a little looser than normal, and I generally enjoy a loose wearing watch, so I don't get wrist claustrophobia. So here it is on my 7.25-inch wrist. I think the proportions are ideal. It's not too tall, it's not too top heavy, it's not too large or too small. It's just surprisingly versatile. I think the size is perfect, and it's also very legible. You may be thinking that this design is only well tailored to kind of formal situations, but I've actually found it to be the opposite in day-to-day use. I think this looks best. I think this feels most at home when I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And I know that there are some watch collectors or watch fans who, they look at this piece, they're interested, but they're also slightly apprehensive about wearing something like this day to day. And to you, I would say that this has been a very easy watch to wear daily. There is not an outfit that it does not go with. It is anti-magnetic, it's waterproof, it's shock resistant, and it is extremely accurate. In fact, I find Rolex the easiest watch to wear on a day-to-day basis. The only thing that I would say you need to be conscious of is the image that you portray, because any Rolex model generally makes one a target for potential theft. So always practice judiciousness and always ensure your Rolex watches. Now, lastly, I will mention if you wear yellow gold in terms of a wedding band or other jewelry, this is a perfect pairing, especially if you opt for the champagne dial like I did. I know some of the other dial options are gorgeous, they're more sought after, they're more hyped, but in my opinion, there is just no beating the timelessness and the versatility of the monotone all gold look. In fact, wearing this piece over the last several months has had an unforeseen side effect for me. It has increased my desire to buy and to wear more gold in rotation. So I don't know what the next gold piece will be, whether it is a vintage watch, a modern watch, a two-tone execution. I only know I'd like to introduce a companion to this date that will take advantage of this weighty and brilliant material. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my musings today. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you.